Well, g'day, we're here in Wagga, and I met Catherine here at the St Paul's Church in Turvey Park.
Yep.
And you were telling me you came from a little tiny town outside Lockhart.
Yep, called Milbralong. Grew up on a farm out there. Mum and Dad were farmers as children, and then bought a farm out near Milbralong. So yes, I left home at 18, but prior to that I was homeschooled, and had quite an amazing life on the farm. You know, getting in and doing chores and having animals, and also I guess dealing with isolation, but seeing God in so many of the things that farm life has. And while homeschooling, read lots of books.
Okay, so lots of stories of heroes
Yeah,
that changed your life.
amazing people. Lots of missionary stories, so Peace Child about Papua New Guinea and Through the Gates of Splendour, which is based in Ecuador.
Yep.
And then Anne of Burma. She was an amazing woman who left her elite English life, packed her life in a coffin because that was the only way she was coming home. So all of her possessions and everything was in a wooden coffin and on a boat, and she sailed for months and months and months. And being a missionary nowadays is much easier. You get to pack your bag and get on a plane, and
Or you can fly home.
20 hours later you're in your country.
She wasn't expecting to fly home by the sound of it.
No, but
So
all of these stories really touched me.
Okay, they shaped your life. Like, stories are powerful for young kids. I was a bit the same. So you ended up a nurse, but how did that happen?
Well, it's kind of in our family line. Pretty much all the nurses on all girls on the Harvey side are nurses.
Oh, really?
in one form or another, in caring profession. And so I had said I want to be a missionary and a nurse, and Mum and Dad never discouraged or said otherwise, but they were also like, you could look at other professions, and what else would you like to do? But at 18 I went off to uni and studied nursing at Avondale College, which is run by the Adventist Church, and they have the Sydney Adventist Hospital in Wahroonga too. And that was an amazing 3 years of, their course is run quite differently to most university courses, where they have a spiritual element every year. So we learnt about other cultures, relating to health, and how connecting with people improves health, and so different aspects of
It's not just
spirituality
handing out
and
medicine,
health.
it's a holistic,
Yeah.
So now what got me curious was, embedded in your course was the Florence Nightingale story.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So the history of nursing, many centuries ago, or a long time ago, nurses were, prisoners were either sent to prison or to hospital to become nurses. So that's sort of part of the history of nursing, was if you didn't want to end up in a prison, it wasn't. And like you'd mentioned earlier, it was, nursing was, in the same level as being a prostitute. And yet here is Florence Nightingale, an elite woman who came from wealth and made a decision to leave all that behind to go into the depths of
A horrible war.
and like meet with people in their pain and their gore and their mess, and just transformed how hospitals ran, taught doctors how to wash their hands, that how bloody their apron was not a sign of their status in being a good doctor or not, and just taught basics and transformed nursing. And so our course was very much part of that.
So it was actually shipped deliberately to Australia. I think Florence Nightingale sent 6 nurses to New South Wales to reform the hospital here, which in Sydney, which was a mess.
Yeah.
So they put their stamp on Australia too.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then part of our course, our graduation was, we all had our Florence Nightingale lamps, and in our graduation with our cap, and we walked in with our lit lamps and said the oath, and
Now the oath is
I don't remember.
was written
it,
by,
but it
but it was written by Florence Nightingale.
yeah, and it basically means, don't know it word for word, but basically, you know, do no harm and meet with people and, you know.
We could probably add that.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty amazing with that. And then...
and you still have the lamp, you told
I
me.
do. It's on my mantelpiece, and it's...
What does it mean to you?
Like, it's not just my journey, but it's the journey of nurses who've gone before. Like God calls us into a caring profession, and so it's not just, you know, this isn't just a symbol of, for me and what I achieved in graduating, but it's a symbol of hope and joy and compassion and what all the women who have chosen to be nurses
And
did
now
before us.
men.
Yeah, and like I was talking to you before about the Anzac Girls. So there's a mini-series by ABC called the Anzac Girls, and it's based on actual journal articles and letters sent home from these nurses that were sent to the front line during the wars, and Australian nurses, and how the government had no respect for them, so hadn't sent supplies, hadn't given them tents or you know, even facilities or a decent place to start a hospital, so they were doing it out, just you know,
Making it up as they went along.
yeah, and they had these beautiful uniforms with far too many petticoats and capes and everything, and they ended up ripping them all up for bandages, and like just looking at the resources and making a huge difference to the war front. And yeah, like I get to be part of that history.
So now you're a paediatric nurse?
Yeah.
And what,
Yeah.
what does that mean to you?
So I work with families, children and families, 0 to 16, from little babies up to 16-year-olds who might be struggling with life in various ways. And it's an honour to journey with these families during crisis, because to have a sick child in hospital, it messes up home life, it messes up work life, it changes so many aspects of a family's life, so it really is a crisis moment for them. So to be able to alleviate some of the angst, to give reassurance and to be in that moment with them, like it's a huge honour. So
if you're going to sum up, Catherine, what it meant for you and with your faith, how does that work in that context? Like, what's it mean?
Often in a moment with a family, like as a professional, it's sometimes hard to share faith, but often you can make a comment or say enough that they will then share, and then together you can uphold a family. But even if there's not that moment to share faith, then as I'm caring for a child,
You express it.
yeah, like I pray over them, pray for healing for them, that God blesses their life, that at some stage in their journey of life that they will get to know Him. And that may be the only prayer that is, you know, over them in that moment, but God's a good God and He hears every prayer of every person. So you know, life will ebb and flow for that child, that they'll have opportunity to hear about God's love again.
You're right, Catherine. You are being professional because you're professing Jesus there. You are Jesus in that moment, I think. Anyway,
Yeah,
thanks for that beautiful story.
that's all right.
Great. Thanks, Catherine.